Wadebridge is a civil parish and town in North Cornwall, England, United Kingdom. The town straddles the River Camel 5 miles upstream from Padstow. The permanent population is 6,222, increasing to 7,900 at the 2011 census. There are 2 electoral wards in the town. Originally known as Wade, it was a dangerous fording point across the river until a bridge was built here in the 15th century, after which the name changed to its present form. The bridge was strategically important during the English Civil War, and Oliver Cromwell went there to take it. Since then, it has been widened twice and refurbished in 1991. Wadebridge was served by a railway station between 1834 and 1967. Part of the line now forms the Camel Trail, a recreational route for walkers, cyclists and horse riders. The town used to be a road traffic bottleneck on the A39 road until it was bypassed in 1991, and the main shopping street is now pedestrianised. The town has a secondary school where several notable sportspeople were educated. The Royal Cornwall Show is a 3-day agricultural show held at the nearby Royal Cornwall Showground every June. History. The initial settlement of Wade came about due to a ford in the River Camel. The early crossing had a chapel on each side of the river, King's Chapel on the north side and St. Michael's on the south side. People would pray for a safe crossing at one of the chapels before wading across at low tide. Once they had made it the other side, they would give thanks to God in the other chapel. In 1312 a license was granted for a market at Wade. At some time the ford was supplemented by a ferry until the Reverend Thomas Lovibond became distressed at the number of humans and animals that died during the crossing of the River Camel, so he planned the building of a bridge which was completed in 1468. Wade was now known as Wadebridge. The bridge was a strategic position in the English Civil War, as in 1646 Oliver Cromwell came with 500 dragoons and 1,000 horsemen to take the bridge. When the bridge was first completed, tolls were charged for its maintenance. In 1853 it was widened from 3 to 5 meters. A second widening took place in 1952, and then in 1963 it was again widened, taking it to 12 meters. In 1994 the bridge underwent a refurbishment to change the stone in the pavement and to create a cycle track. A serious outbreak of typhoid in 1897 caused by contamination of drinking water led to Wadebridge having its own town council, as decisive action had to be taken for proper water supplies and disposal of sewage effluent. Railway. The Bodmin and Wadebridge Railway from Wadebridge to Wenford Bridge with branch lines to Bodmin and Rutland Bridge was built at a cost of £35,000, following a study commissioned in 1831 by local landowner Sir William Molesworth of Pencarrow. The line was intended to carry sand from the Camel estuary to inland farms for use as fertilizer. It was opened on the 30th of September 1834 with the locomotive Camel pulling a trainload of 400 passengers. When the company ordered its second locomotive, it came with a nameplate already affixed. It had been named the Elephant, as the makers had failed to realize that the first engine had been named after the river and not an animal. The last passenger train left Wadebridge Railway Station in 1967 following railway cutbacks. The railway has been transformed into the Camel Trail, and the Bodmin and Wenford Railway Heritage Railway runs on part of the route. Oliver Bulleid designed his range of light Pacific, which are either named after WW2 squadrons at towns in the West Country. One such loco is 34,007. Wadebridge, which is preserved at the Midhants Railway Quays. Wadebridge was the highest navigable navigable point on the River Camel, providing the main trade route before the building of the railway, and coasters would bring goods from Bristol and coal from South Wales. Timber was also imported from the Baltic, while stone from inland was sent to destination throughout England. The first locomotives used on the railway were also imported through the quay, being manufactured by Neath Abbey Ironworks, and the railway initially linked with river traffic well, having been designed to distribute sand from the river to the local farms. This commodity, brought up from Padstow in barges, had previously been taken as far as Michaelstowe and Blisland. In 1880 there were quays on both sides of the river below the bridge, that on the west bank being served by the railway. In the 1900s vessels such as the MV Florence brought cargoes such as slag, grain and coal. Flour was also a regular cargo brought from Ranks at Avonmouth. However, in the 1950s the river silted badly so that the ketch Agnes was possibly the last vessel to bring cargo to Wadebridge in 1955. Edston Road. In 1877, after cracks appeared in the rock on which the Edston Lighthouse was positioned, a new lighthouse was commissioned from James Nicholas Douglas. Granite quarried from De Lang Quarry was brought down to Wadebridge, where stonemasons dovetailed each segment of stone not only to each other but also to the course above and below. As each layer was completed and checked to fit with the layer above, it was sent out to the Eddystone Rocks by sea. The lighthouse was completed in 1882. This resulted in the road where the masons worked being called Edston Road. Historical timeline 1312. License granted for Wade to hold a market. 1455, John Leland records a ferry. 1460, Reverend Thomas Lovey Bond started to organize the building of the bridge. 1646, Oliver Cromwell and his men descended onto Wadebridge to take control of the bridge. 1793, a shipping canal from Wadebridge to Foy was surveyed. 1834, the Bodmin and Wadebridge Railway took its first passengers. 1845, the Bodmin and Wadebridge Railway became part of the London and South Western Railway. 1852, the bridge was widened from 3 meters to 5 meters. 1882, work began on replacing the Eddystone Lighthouse. 1888, the town hall was completed. 1888, the Bodmin and Wadebridge Railway was connected to the Great Western Railway. 1894, Wadebridge Town Football Club was founded. 1895, the London and South Western Railway reached Wadebridge from Halwell Junction and Launceston. 1898, Wadebridge Urban District created in April. 1899, the Bodmin and Wadebridge Railway was extended to Padstow. 1930, the Synodrome opened to its first customers. 1955, Wadebridge Camels RFC was founded. 1960, Wadebridge was chosen as the permanent site of the Royal Cornwall Agricultural Show. 1963, the bridge was widened from 5 meters to 12 meters. 1967, the railway line was closed to passengers. 1991, the Challenge Bridge was completed. 1993, the Wadebridge bypass was completed. Government. Wadebridge is in the constituency of North Cornwall, which is currently held by the Conservative MP Scott Mann. The main offices of the former North Cornwall District Council were at Trenand Road in the town. Historically, Wadebridge was part of St Columb Rural District Council until the creation of Wadebridge Urban District Council in April 1898. Geography and transport. The town straddles the River Camel 5 miles upstream from Padstow. For many years Wadebridge was a traffic-congested town, but in 1991 the Wadebridge bypass was opened together with the Eglos Hale bypass, causing the two settlements to regain much of the former charm. The main shopping street in Wadebridge has subsequently been pedestrianised through construction of an inner link road, allowing traffic-free shopping. On St Swithin's Day 1965 there was a flood in Wadebridge town after 5.5 inches of rain fell in 4.5 hours around high tide. The Swan Hotel on the Platte was flooded to a depth of 1.5 feet. Culture and community. The Molesworth Arms is one of the oldest inns in Wadebridge, previously known as the Fox, the King's Arms and the Fountain. This coaching inn got its current name in 1817. There is a strong calendar of annual events in and around Wadebridge. Since 2014, this has started with the Mid-May Mayplay Festival, a weekend of free children's activities. The Royal Cornwall Agricultural Show is held at the Royal Cornwall Showground, 1.5 miles west of Wadebridge, over 3 days in early June each year. The show began in 1793 at Bodmin and was then held every year in East and West Cornwall alternately until 1960 when it came to its present site. The showground, run by the Royal Cornwall Agricultural Association, is used for many different functions from scout jamborees to point-to-point horse racing. The Big Lunch, organised by the local Chamber of Commerce, is a free street party in the pedestrianised part of Molesworth Street in the centre of Wadebridge, where around 500 to 750 people get together to share food, chat, and enjoy music and other entertainment. The idea grew out of a project by the Eden Project, and was started by a former local councillor, Harriet Weil. In 2012 it also served as a celebration of the Queen's Jubilee. Later in June, the Wadebridge Lions organise a beer festival, with brewers from across Cornwall, and plenty of live music. July sees the Rock Oyster Festival on fields on the north side of the Camel River. Oysters are, of course, on the menu, along with some great bands from the local area, across the southwest and further afield. Wadebridge Carnival is held annually in August, with a Carnival Queen. In August there is the Eglos Craft Fair at Eglos Hale Church, and the Cornwall Folk Festival, held over the bank holiday. The likes of folk stars such as John Renbourn, Martin Carthy and Dave Swarbrick rub shoulders with Cornish bands, and Blue legend Whiz Jones is the festival's president. Depending on the tides, the Camel River Festival is held around August to September. The main attraction is a set of raft races on the Camel River, with bar, food, stalls and more live music. In November the Prime Stock Show and the Garden Produce Association and Chrysanthemum Show are held. A footbridge called the Challenge Bridge links the Eglos Hale playing fields to the Jubilee Fields on the other side of the river. The bridge was constructed in 1991 by Anika Rice and her team for the TV series Challenge Anika. Locally, the bridge is known as Anika's Bridge, but its real name is the Bailey Bridge. The newspaper is a local edition of the weekly Cornish Guardian. The town is twinned with Langeais in Brittany, France. In April 2013, Wadebridge was shortlisted as one of Britain's top eco-towns and is home to Wadebridge Renewable Energy Network, a grassroots enterprise aiming to make the town the first solar-powered and renewable energy-powered town in the UK. Demographics. The town has 2 primary schools which have academy status. Wadebridge Primary Academy, which Ofsted graded as a good school in November 2012, and St Briac Primary School. There is also a secondary school, Wadebridge School, which has a 6th form. There are 2 healthcare practices, the Wadebridge and Camel Estuary Practice and the Bridge Medical Centre. There has been a group practice in Wadebridge since the early 20th century. Many of the early doctors had the surgeries operating from their homes. Sport. Wadebridge is home to a number of sporting clubs, including Wadebridge Town Football Club, who play the home games at Bodieve Park, and Wadebridge Camels, who play play the home games at the Molesworth Field in Egloshayle. The town has a leisure centre with a varied programme of sports and leisure pursuits including Cornish wrestling. The Camel estuary offers a wide range of water sports, including sailing, water skiing, windsurfing, surfing and kite surfing. Golf courses close by include Trevose and St Enedic and St Kew. Notable people: the gentleman scientist and surgeon Sir Goldsworthy Gurney, who invented the Bude light, lived in Wadebridge from 1814 to 1820. A street has been named after him. Francis Hudden, a prominent figure in Canadian politics, was educated in the town. In media, Michael White, journalist, associate editor and former political editor of The Guardian, was born here in 1945. The comedian Jethro lived in Wadebridge for many years, and Andrew Ridgeley, member of the pop music duo Wham, and his partner Karen Woodward, from the girl band Bananarama, live in a converted farmhouse near the town. Sergeant Stephen Roberts, the first soldier to die in the 2003 invasion of Iraq, was born in Wadebridge. In sport, Ollie Barclay, the England Rugby Union international player, was raised in the town, as was Michaela Breeze, the Commonwealth weightlifting champion. Both were educated at Wadebridge School, as was Annie Vernon, the 2007 World Rowing Champion Women's Quad Sculls. Mixologist and bartender Tristan Stevenson is a resident, as is children's book illustrator Iago. Bibliography: Tuthill, Peter. A Brief History of Wadebridge. History of Wadebridge Town and Police, by Peter Tuthill.